Are you really super connected, really great at making friends, but find it a little bit difficult to keep up with all the details and turn that knack of yours for people into actually making a profit? Join me as we dive into the Wealth Dynamics supporter profile type. We talk about the winning and losing formulas that people like Jack Welch of General Electric, or eBay's Meg Whitman, or even Michael Eisner from Disney, how they were able to use this supporter profile to be able to get into flow and create their billions. This video could end up saving you years of doing the wrong work, taking the wrong advice, and hiring the wrong people. So let's dive in and talk about the Wealth Dynamics supporter. This video, like all the videos on this channel, is designed to help you with your business, help you get into more flow. So if you are a supporter profile type or you like this video, please let me know down below in the comments section what your biggest takeaway is, or if you have a question. Like the video, and if you haven't done so already, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel and click the notification bell so that you never miss an episode. Okay, let's do this. All right, so Wealth Dynamics supporters. We are going to be talking about the wealth creation strategy for the blaziest of profiles, the supporter. We're going to start out, already went through our first 5 minutes, everybody hopping on saying hello. We are now going to go into differentiation, which is how is a supporter different from the other 7 profiles. Then we're going to get into individualization, which is how are you as a supporter different from the other supporters on this call. Then we'll get into the application. What are the things that you should be and can be doing right now to start creating more of the real wealth in your life, not just making money. And then we'll end it with 20 minutes, 15 minutes, just depending on the number of questions we have of Q&A. So let's begin by actually talking about differentiation. And that is, how are you different from the other 7 profiles? So to do that, let me share my iPad screen here. All right, so if you've been on my workshop before, which several of you on this call have, you will recognize this. This is what we call the Wealth Dynamics Square, which helps us kind of understand where do we sit in comparison to everybody else. Well, as a Wealth Dynamics supporter, you're right here on the right side of the Wealth Dynamics Square, meaning that you are smack dab in the middle of the tempo and the dynamo, but you're all the way over on the blaze. So what are these terms and what do they have to do with anything? Well, this is what we look at in Wealth Dynamics, is a very simple formula called wealth equals value times leverage. And when we look at this, some profiles are great at creating value. Some profiles are great at creating leverage, and understanding that value comes first, but leverage is how we get to wealth. You as supporters actually fall on the leverage side. So this really comes down to how do we think versus how do we act. So you'll notice here that we have a y-axis that goes up and it goes down. And this is what we call our thinking dynamic. And to whatever degree you are closer to the top, your thinking dynamic is what we call intuitive, meaning head in the clouds, right? Connecting those invisible dots, seeing things not as they are, but as they could be, right? That intuition is going to be highest with our creators and our mechanics and our stars, people that are at the top of the Wealth Dynamics Square. And at the bottom here, intuition gives way to sensory thinking, meaning that these people also connect dots, but the people that are at more tempo, they're connecting dots in real time as to say, what is right in front of me? What's here? What can I actually impact in this moment? So much more tempo, much more timing. This is what it means to be in your thinking dynamic. Now, as a supporter, you're going to be in the middle of that because you're right here in the middle of that axis, right? So this is you. So as you're in the middle of that, that is how you think. Thinking is what leads to value creation, and we create either through innovation or through timing, coming up with a product or delivering it, right? This is different from the way that we create leverage. The way that we create leverage is through our action dynamic. So you'll see right here, we have the words action dynamic. Action dynamic is how do you get things done? And so you'll hear these words oftentimes associated with your action dynamic. You have your introverted and you have your extroverted. Now, this is often misunderstood as introvert is someone who is just standing in the corner of the party or doesn't even show up to the party, and the extrovert is the life of the party. And while that does sometimes correlate pretty well with lords versus supporters, when we're talking about wealth dynamics, this is actually referencing the way that you get things done, your action dynamic. When it is time for me to take action to solve for a problem, when it is time for me to take action to take advantage of an opportunity, will I do that Introverted, meaning myself, figuring out exactly how it needs to be done and taking that action directly. Or will I do it extroverted through other people, indirectly taking action by getting the right person on the phone and having them handle it for me? So for the extroverted person, they are going to be getting things done through other people. That is you. As a supporter, you are on the extroverted side. So here you are, our supporter over here on the right-hand side. Hold on one moment. My iPad is frozen. And there we go. Make sure this works. Perfect. Okay. So as a supporter, you are over here on the right-hand side, meaning that you're all the way over on how you get things done extroverted. And that means that you are going to create leverage, not through multiplication, but through magnification, getting things to be bigger. Multiplication is taking a pair of shoes and finding a way to multiply it so you have more shoes and you sell all of them. Magnification is, I've only got one pair of shoes. How can I sell it for as much as possible? Let me get Michael Jordan to sign his name on it. Okay, great. Now I can sell that for more. Magnify means to take small and make bigger, right? So this is what it means to be a supporter. And that's what makes you different from the other 7 wealth dynamics profiles. Now let's go back over to the presentation here and get into individualization, because while everything I just said is true for supporters, it's not necessarily precise for you. And that is to say that not all supporters are created equally. Some supporters have very different spider graphs than others. So if you read the supporter profile and you said, first of all, I don't like the name supporter because supporter sounds like I can't have my own business and I can't have my own thing and I just go around supporting everybody else, right? This happens a lot. I'll get some guys that come in and they're like, I've been an entrepreneur forever. That's not me. That's not what supporter means. Supporter doesn't just mean that you support, somebody else's business. It often means that you're supporting somebody's vision. And that vision could be the vision of a wealth creator, sure, but it could also be the vision of your client. You could be supporting directly through being a coach or somebody who runs an organization. But most accurately, to be a supporter is to support your team. So if you're a great manager, a great leader, that is your key to wealth creation. But not all supporters are created equally. So as you read through the profile report, you may feel like, you know what, this really resonates with me. Or you might say, there's parts of this that just don't quite fit. 2 things on that. Number one, depending how old you are, there's a very large chance that you have been very conditioned to not be a supporter. Everything that you've read, the books you've read, the podcasts you've listened to, the advice you've been given, the jobs that you've had have pigeonholed you into having to do work that is so far away from being a supporter that eventually you gave way and you got good at those things. And so when you answer the wealth dynamics questions, you end up with a spider graph. And the spider graph lets you know to what extent are you in flow, right? When you're doing different activities. If you were 100% blaze and you had like nothing else going on, okay, then maybe everything that you read here is going to just hit you like a nail on the head. But if you're a more balanced supporter, like for example, this person here, they've got 44% blaze, but they've also got 20 dynamo and 28 tempo and a little bit of steel. Now, if that person was way more blaze, this would resonate completely. If they're less blaze, then they might say, oh, parts of this don't resonate that great with me. Do not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Wealth dynamics is a system of finding flow, not a system of following a step-by-step checklist of whatever it says in your profile report. What I mean by this is you need to be acting based off of your spider graph, not acting just based off of your profile type. I'm a creator profile, meaning that I've got a star wing and a mechanic wing. I love to create things. I'm great with strategy. And to whatever extent I spend all of my time doing those things, I'm moving as fast as possible. But sometimes faster isn't better. Sometimes I need to slow down and do things in either my star or my mechanic wing. But knowing my spider graph is 76% dynamo, 20% blaze, and 4% steel, I know that I'm going to spend more of my time and be more effective by being in the blaze version of creator than I will if I am in the steel version of creator. Steel being someone who invents things, blaze being someone who starts movements and builds companies. So knowing that, I'm able to shift more in the direction that makes sense for me. So look at your report. If you are more dynamo, then you're going to be leaning more towards the dynamo supporter than you will be towards the tempo supporter, meaning that you're going to be using the ideas and you're going to be probably using a little bit of that star power. So let's go ahead and take a look at what it does have to say for all supporters, understanding that there's a degree to which you may day to day choose to live a little bit outside of what is said here and be in those wings so that you can be effective in your work. So your strengths, absolutely your strengths are people, right? You are relationship focused, right? Really great at helping people build up their confidence. Like when you see us as wealth creators, because I'm a creator profile type, when I discovered my wife was a supporter, honestly, I didn't discover she was a supporter. As soon as I knew what a supporter was, I was like, that's my wife. I remember telling her that. We were sitting next to the fire in our backyard in Austin. It was winter, and she was sitting out there, and we were talking about this new system I found called Wealth Dynamics and how amazing it was, and it changed my life and all this stuff and my perspective. And she goes, well, what do you think I am? I was like, oh, you're a supporter. She just fell head, face, straight into her hands. And she started like crying and tearing up. And she's like, oh my gosh, I am. She felt like she was finally given permission to not have to go write books and start companies and build movements and create funnels and all the different things that I did and all the creators around us did. And she could just be in support of somebody's vision, be in support of clients directly if she wanted to be a coach, which she did for a while. You're great at leading. You're the best COOs. Oftentimes you see people like, Bill Gates who are out there starting billion-dollar companies, but you miss out on the Steve Ballmer that's actually the supporter that's making sure that it's not just ideas and wood being created, but that wood is actually being burnt. It's actually creating and creating that fire, and it's happening. So you are valuable when you are leading. You're also able to follow, which is really rare that a leader can also follow, but supporters are the best at doing both. You enjoy building teams and you enjoy meeting new people. In fact, you are more loyal to your team than probably any other profile. Your weaknesses, however, is patience with numbers and details. Because you're out there meeting all these people, connecting and networking, and you go through a week meeting 100 people, you get to the end of the week and you're like, I don't know why I met those people. None of the meetings that I just had are connected in any way to any value that I'm creating. And so wealth doesn't happen, even though if I had your network, I'd be creating a crap ton of wealth out of it, right? So think about how you are showing up in that way. Often you can be very restless if you're by yourself. Okay, this was my wife at the beginning of coronavirus. We were like 3 weeks into quarantine and she was just like a crazy person, right? So this happens. You become easily disfocused. This is part of your desire for variety, is it's hard to keep it really focused on that. You love to chat. And this is just like reading a list of all the things that are true about my wife, because she's like 60+% Blaze, right? She just gets lost in conversation. And I'm like, you said you were going to be home an hour ago. She's like, sorry, I forgot to even check my text. I was talking to somebody, right? So wanting that constant variety, that can be a weakness. It could also be a strength. It depends on how you're harnessing that in your life and in your business. I know my wife's desire for variety is one of the reasons that we have such a cornucopia of experience and why I love my life. I like variety too. So let's talk about how you actually build a foundation of wealth as a supporter. Well, no surprise here. It's by going to your network. Connect with the people that you already know, right? Together with your natural talents and time, in order for you to start meeting and working with at least one or more wealth creators. Packaging your network and your team. That's the wealth that you have. So I have a friend, he's in Austin, Texas. He's a supporter profile type. His entire business is his relationships. Right? He literally connects wealth creators with other wealth creators, right? And because he has all of these relationships and he has the team to be able to actually execute on making sure that those relationships turn into value for both parties, that is what allows him to stay in flow. So build a reputation and a network around your area of greatest passion. This is really cool. As a supporter, you get to start with what you're passionate about. Team up with deal makers and stars. So these are the people that are your wings, but that's their primary profile. So they can connect you with even more of the right people for you to know. Now, when is that moment of wealth creation for you as a supporter? It's actually when you pinpoint and develop your areas of greatest contribution to wealth creators, right? The people that you are going to support. Now, again, my friend's a supporter. He supports wealth creators, but the business that supports the wealth creators is his. So again, it doesn't mean that you have to necessarily be the number two in a business, although oftentimes supporters make even more money, more impact, and more wealth by being number two inside of a business with a creator, right? That would be aligning with one creator. You can have many creators that you're working with as that supporter. So be clear on how you can add value and help us, the creators, see where we are weakest and where we're entrenched in lower value activities, right? So my favorite thing that my supporter does on my team is actually not just supporting me and helping me, stay on track and not be super crazy all the time. It's actually when she manages my team. When I say, these are all the things that I need to get done, and then she goes and makes sure that they get done through other people, right? Then I'm not having to manage the people, which allows me to stay in my creative zone of genius. So how do you create value as a supporter? Well, it's by building and nurturing relationships, again, that you have with the creator or creators, if you have multiple, and the relationship you have with your network, right? So again, back to that friend as an example, who's a supporter with the business. He doesn't just help the creators, he also has his own email list. So if one of those creators has something of high value that he could offer to his own audience, he's able to do that, right? But then also he's able to find in that audience the connections that people might be looking for. This is why people that are members of our community that come out to our workshops, that are in our club, we're able to connect them with each other. It's not me doing the connecting. It's actually my wife, Grace, who's a supporter. So when you're inside our network, you can say, hey, look, I'm looking for a deal maker on my team. Grace might say, hey, here's the deal maker that you're looking for. So building trust and commitment are your two greatest areas of importance. I'll say that again, trust and commitment. As you'll see here in a moment, this is the most important part of being a supporter. So how do you own the value that you create? Well, the value you need to own is actually the relationships, right? Most importantly, the relationships with those wealth creators. Ownership is not just about contracts. It's about unwavering trust and reliability. If the creator knows that you've got his back or her back, if they know that you're going in there with 100% commitment to them and to the team, then you're going to have so much flow consistently going towards you. It's not going to even be funny. Now, how do we get that that value and then begin to leverage it? Because as we talked about earlier, wealth equals value times leverage. So you have to have some sort of leverage component in order for your value to really grow. So you do this by systemizing your time, your knowledge, and your resource base. Now, as soon as I said systemizing, some of you are like, systemize, I don't want to do systems. Here's the thing. Supporters thrive when you have structure. You thrive when you have a system. You don't thrive when you're being told exactly how to do things and how to manage your relationships and all of that. But if you have the support of a system and structure there that you didn't have to create, that you don't have to like tinker with, but that you can rely on and stay focused on the people, that's what you do to keep yourself in flow. So make sure that you're being very systematic about, okay, how am I spending my time? Am I spending my time making connections that are actually going to benefit the overall objective and mission that I'm on? Or am I just making connections because that's fun to do? Right? That's like a creator. Am I creating a product? Am I creating a better service? Or am I painting a picture because I like to paint? Okay. It's not that one is right and one is wrong. It's just that one produces wealth and the other one is fun, right? So every great supporter needs to build their own support team. Okay. Make sure you have the right people around you and that you're bringing people into your life and into your business. So how do you secure your cash flow? Well, first of all, do not get caught in the trap of just earning a salary. Okay, secure your cash flow by linking it to the success of the wealth creator. Now, make sure the wealth creator is actually good enough that you're not wasting your time linking up with the wrong person, but you want to make sure you've got some sort of equity or profit share so that as the wealth creator builds this vision, this business or this program or this product, or maybe you're not in a business, maybe you're partnering with them and they're just really great at delivering value. Right? Let's say that you are going to bring together a community to come hear Tony Robbins speak. You know that Tony Robbins is a great wealth creator. You know that Tony Robbins is a great salesman, and so he's going to make millions of dollars. Well, don't just do it for a salary. Get a piece of what you're making happen because you're really the one who's producing that wealth. So you want to benefit from the wealth that's being produced. So this is what we do as a supporter to be able to produce and create and hang on to the wealth that we're creating in our life. But you might be watching this video right now and think, you know what, this is all great, but I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm a level 0 entrepreneur. I'm a level 1 entrepreneur, and that I just have one customer, my boss. And so how do I actually fit in on a team? Or maybe you're watching this and you're thinking, I want to bring a supporter onto my team. This all sounds great, but that's how they can take advantage of the wealth I create. And I can see that they could possibly help me, but like, what's the best way for a supporter to help as part of a team? Well, that's when we shift into a slightly different perspective, and that's where do supporters show up best within an organization? And this is plain and simple. They're the best leaders, right? My friend Jeremy texted me a few months ago and he said, hey, who are the best CEOs? Which profile type are the best CEOs? And I think he was getting at something because he's a supporter profile. I was like, you are, buddy. He's like, yeah, I thought so. And so he ran off and he actually became the CEO of a recovery facility, I believe, in Austin, Texas, with another one of my friends who is also a supporter. So build a plan and set the goals with your supporter. So if you're, again, not the supporter, but you're watching this and you want to be able to engage and empower a supporter, make sure you're building the plan and setting the goals, but let them lead the team their own way, right? And because they're going to have a much better eye on team leadership than you are. And then let them set that management style, let them set their own agenda, and always give them an environment of fun, variety, celebration. right? I know my supporters watching this can agree with those three things: fun, variety, and celebration. And that is it. This is how we approach building wealth and building teams as Wealth Dynamic supporters, or bringing those Wealth Dynamic supporters into our team so that we can be in flow and create more wealth.
Okay, that's it for our Wealth Dynamics supporters. If you still don't know what your Wealth Dynamics profile type is, I've got good news. There's a test. If you scroll down to the description below, you'll find a link to go take the test on our website. It's actually a discount, 22% off what you would pay on the regular website, just my gift to you. If you do, however, already know, Trey, I know I'm a Wealth Dynamics supporter and I'm ready to get on the court and start really using my profile and my genius to produce and create wealth, well, then I've got news for you as well. Down there in that description, you'll also find a link to book a call with a member of my team so that we can start to help you begin to find your flow. If you liked this video, please go ahead and like it and leave a comment with your biggest takeaway down below. Or if you have a question, you can leave that there as well. We do check in periodically to make sure that we answer those. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, now's the time to do that, man. Just click that little notification bell next to the subscribe button and you will never miss an episode. Until next time, remember, keep finding your flow.